What's up everybody, it's Joe from JLW Games coming at you with another cool video back and playing a coaster, and this is a very exciting episode because we get on to the new coaster, or the next coaster anyways, which is going to be a dive coaster, and I'm very excited. I was very excited for this this coaster right here because it's going to actually turned out pretty nice in the long run. So this entire episode is pretty much just the layout of this coaster and a little bit of the station work and queue line, and that's about all this episode is. But it turns out really good, and after doing some theming and stuff, I think it's going to be amazing, and all that stuff. I think it's going to look really good. I'll go over a little bit of stuff once I get to each part. So I decided to do this little dip and climb into the brakes, which will head into the lift hill. And yeah, so I believe that's actually how Valraven kind of starts, if I'm not mistaken, which I can't remember. One thing about dive coasters, they have pretty steep lift hills, so I always think this steepness on the snap feature is actually pretty accurate, so I always use it. And I changed the color scheme to black and this kind of odd yellow type of supporting, yellow supports, which is gonna which I thought looked kind of unique and different in a way. I'm not sure if I like it, but I might change it later. But for right now, it looks good, and I'm kind of looking for a name for this ride. I was almost thinking of something like the Raven or something. I don't know if that's too, overly used or something, or the Crow or something like that, but something kind of piratey themed. But they've updated the game to where it's a lot easier to make your own custom inversions and stuff. So I start the ride out just like almost every other dive coaster in the world, and that's an Emmelman inversion. And I had it good at first, and then I actually kind of ended up messing up the inversion itself because it looked good at first. Something kind of neat about the first drop is I decided to make it kind of slightly beyond vertical. So it's slightly beyond vertical. It's not straight down. It actually goes behind itself. So it's a beyond vertical drop slightly, and I thought that'd be kind of a neat thing, or a neat seller for this ride in the long run. And I'm still working on my own custom inversions. I don't have it down perfectly yet, but I'm starting to get there. As you can see, I kind of reworked this first Immelman inversion at the start, and I still might rework it a little bit even after what I've done here, and maybe even other coasters slightly too, to try and make it as smooth as possible in the final POVs and stuff. So stuff like that. It can be kind of hard to get it as smooth as possible, and I wish the smooth tool would just completely smooth it out to where the entire thing's completely smooth, which is possible. It kind of gets rough at sometimes if you don't use the smooth tool, and that's the truth. But that's what we're gonna go with. And then they kind of have this kind of curved hill that comes up to a midpoint brake run, which is kind of more of a first quarter brake run. It's not really much of a midway in my opinion, but I kind of wanted to resemble Valraven just a little bit from Cedar Point, but not a whole lot, and it'll have its own uniquenesses in the long run. As you can see, it's already completely differently kind of laid out than Valraven itself. And then right here I go ahead and add another vertical drop, or I guess it's not beyond vertical, so it is just a regular vertical drop. And yeah, so I wanted to put 4 inversions on this dive coaster, but it ended up only turning out to be 3 in the end. This inversion was a little bit tricky. It's like a 0G roll pretty much, but kind of slightly different as it's already turning into it at the bottom of the hill. So it's kind of a unique kind of 0G roll in a way that's kind of different, and I think I kind of rework it and delete it, try again. And sometimes it's the best to use kind of like the snap feature and then just smooth it out afterwards. That usually works out pretty well. As you can see, it's all rugged and stuff when you snap it, but when you use the smooth feature, it actually smooths it out pretty nicely. As you can see, it's already like pretty much sideways when it gets to the inversion, and just kind of twists it pretty quickly. And I kind of work on this inversion for quite a long time until I get into the next part of the ride. So yeah, so that's pretty much, and it flows through this ride pretty smoothly, I have to say. I was pretty impressed of how well I actually made it get through the this ride smoothly. You know, it's not too slow, and it's not super fast, and I feel like it's pretty realistic in a way. So here I get to the third inversion, and I was going to do something different, but then I decided why not put another emblem in this part. And I know a lot of people don't like putting the exact same inversion that you just have. It's kind of unrealistic, but at the same time, having a second emblem inversion right next to the other one, I thought it was kind of unique and served it pretty well. It's a little slightly smaller, and but I thought it served the ride well, and it flows through it pretty nicely for the third inversion. So at the start, I actually did think it was going to be another inversion after this helix. I kind of create this little helix type of thing here, but I was hoping to get another inversion somewhere in the mix, and I was going to try and connect it to the brake run at this point, but I was like, well, let's add just a little bit more. I wanted it to be a pretty long coaster for a dive coaster, because dive coasters don't actually seem to have that much track to them. They don't seem very long, and I wanted to make sure this was pretty decently long in the long run. But again, tell me what you guys think for coaster names. I still am looking for another name for the other ride as well, or the other coaster as well. So a lot of feedback is appreciated if you guys can come up with something. I was leaning towards the Raven on this one, but let me know what you guys think. And if I do call it the Raven, I think I'll change the color scheme slightly, and maybe have like purple supports or something like that, and purple trains. But something that, you know, goes within the theme, possibly, you know, the crow or the raven or something like that. Some type of bird is what I kind of want to go with, because that's what most dive coasters are actually themed after, is flying birds or something like that swoop down and stuff like that. And that's kind of what they actually go for, or actually kind of what they end up being. But anyways, I do end up connecting it to the brake run into the station itself. So I decided to go ahead and touch up a couple of these turns a little bit to make them look a little bit smoother and feel smoother in the long run. And I actually think I do end up showing a POV of this ride in this time lapse. I'm not going to slow it down. I'm actually just going to leave it the way it is. That way you have something to look forward to in the final product, and which hopefully will be pretty soon. I hope to have this park done pretty quickly, as much episodes that I'm working on this park. So pretty much, just a little bit of insight. What I'm gonna do is, you know, finish this area with the coaster, or the dive coaster. Maybe I'm not sure if I'm gonna have a full pathway going all the way around it, but maybe in some areas it will go around this ride. And then there's going to be a third coaster in the back part of the park, and then there's also going to be a hyper coaster that wraps around the park. So that's what you got looking forward here. I don't think this coaster is going to take, this area is going to take as long to detail and stuff as the other one did, because the other one was all about scenery mostly and stuff like that. This one is going to mostly be trees around it and stuff like that, and maybe a tunnel at the bottom of the first drop, or both drops, or something like that. But you can see it, I think it complements the park very nicely in its location and stuff like that. We have some terrain doing, and as you can see, this is the POV, so a little bit of a preview of what it is. I was just testing out the smoothness and seeing how it turned out. I decided to have the full chain lift at the top because I like the look of having the catwalk at the top where it turns. It looks a little bit more realistic in the long run. But overall, I thought this layout was actually pretty well done, and let me guys know what you guys think. But I know a lot of people are probably going to judge the having two of the same types of inversions, but I actually liked having the same two inversions on this ride. I thought it fitted very well. As you can see, I have the 0G roll and the second the second Immelman, and I liked having it, and I thought the layout worked very well because it's different for a dive coaster, and I wanted to come up with something that, you know, resembled a dive coaster, but at the same time it had a unique type of layout at the same time. So here I'd go ahead and get started with the station. The station, it probably is not going to be anything too fancy, and it's going to be pretty simple, and that's the way I kind of want it to be in the long run, and as it doesn't take up as much space as it is a smaller station for being a dive coaster. So but anyways, let me know in the comments what you think I should name this. I'm leaning towards something like the Raven or the Crow or something like that in the long run. I'm not entirely positive yet, and that's why I kind of want you guys' feedback and what I should call it. So I like letting you guys choose the names. It probably helps me out a lot, especially when I don't know what to call a ride or something. But I still also want to know in the comments what you guys think the next coaster should be, and I'm leaning towards a launched wing coaster because I want a launched ride, but I also want a wing coaster at the same time. And what better way to have? It's going to be either a launch wing coaster, a regular wing coaster, or the launch coaster that was inspired by Formula Rossa. So one of those three. So two of the three are wing coasters, but I want to know what you guys think in the comments which one it should be, and because I'm having trouble trying to figure out which one I should have. So I decided to make this queue line pretty massive for the most part, and I thought it was pretty appropriate because I think it's going to be one of the most popular rides in the park, being that it is, you know, super big, tall, and a beyond vertical drop. It's going to be the selling point probably of the park, one of the biggest selling points, along probably with the wing coaster. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys have a great day. Cooler tomorrow. Be sure to comment and leave feedback of what you guys think, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.